In the heart of the Serengeti, the sun had just begun to rise, casting a golden hue over the vast expanse of grassland. The air was filled with the sounds of morning as birds sang, and the rustle of the wind through the tall grass created a symphony that heralded the start of a new day. Amid this vibrant tapestry of life, a young wildebeest named Kibo stood, his eyes wide with a mixture of anxiety and wonder. Today was the day he would witness his first great migration, an event narrated in hushed tones by the elders of his herd. Kibo's heart raced as he looked around at the sea of wildebeest, each preparing themselves for the arduous journey ahead. His mother, Amani, stood beside him, her eyes reflecting a mixture of pride and concern. She stroked Kibo gently, an affectionate gesture meant to reassure him. "Stay close to me, Kibo," Amani said, her voice soft but firm. "Migration is a test of strength and endurance, but remember, you are never alone." Kibo nodded, his young mind struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the journey that lay before them. The stories he had heard told of treacherous rivers, prowling predators, and endless plains that stretched as far as the eye could see. However, amidst the fear, there was a spark of excitement. This was a rite of passage, a journey that would transform him from a calf into a true member of the herd. As the first light of dawn began to spread, the herd began to move. The ground beneath Kibo's hooves vibrated with the combined energy of thousands of wildebeests moving as one. It was a sight to behold, a living river of muscle and determination flowing through the Serengeti. Kibo stayed close to Amani, his familiar presence a comforting anchor in the midst of the chaos. Hours turned into days as the herd traveled across the savannah. Kibo marveled at the landscape, his eyes taking in the beauty and diversity of the Serengeti. They passed through lush grasslands where zebras and gazelles grazed peacefully, and their presence was a reminder of the interconnected web of life that thrived in this harsh yet abundant land. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows over the plain, the herd arrived at the banks of the Great River. The water glistened in the dim light, a seemingly serene barrier that belied the dangers lurking beneath its surface. Kibo felt a shiver of apprehension as he looked at the river, aware of the crocodiles that were lurking, their eyes barely visible above the waterline. Amani felt Kibo's discomfort and caressed him once again. "Stay close, my son," she repeated. "Let's cross together." Did you feel Kibo's tension as he crossed the Great River? Imagine following this incredible journey and many others. Don't miss any details of the adventures in the Serengeti. Subscribe to our channel now and watch until the end to see how this little wildebeest story will end. Leave a like and let's move on to the next chapter. The herd began to enter the river, moving slowly and cautiously. Kibo followed Amani, his heart pounding in his chest. The water was cold against his legs, and he felt the current pulling at him, urging him to be quick but careful. Suddenly, a commotion broke out downstream. A group of wildebeest scared a hidden crocodile and panic ran through the herd like wildfire. In the chaos, Kibo lost sight of Amani. He called after her, his voice drowned out by the cacophony of bleating and splashing. Despair washed over him as he struggled to keep his balance, the water now up to his chest. He struggled against the current, his eyes darting frantically in search of his mother. But the river, with its deceptive calm, swallowed her. Exhausted and terrified, Kibo finally managed to reach the opposite bank. He fell to the grass, his small body heaving with the effort. He scanned the sea of wildebeest, hoping to catch a glimpse of Amani, but she was nowhere to be found. The realization hit him like a physical blow: he was alone. For a moment, Kibo was paralyzed with fear. The vastness of the Serengeti seemed to surround him, its beauty now tinged with an overwhelming sense of isolation. He had heard stories of calves lost during migration, their fate sealed by unforgiving nature. But as the initial shock began to wear off, a spark of determination ignited within him. He had to find his mother. Driven by newfound determination, Kibo stood up. He began to wander among the herd, calling Amani's name. His voice was low and lost amid the noise of the migrating wildebeest, but he refused to give up. The hours turned into days and his search became more desperate. Hunger and exhaustion tormented him, but he pressed on, driven by the hope of finding Amani. It was during such a tiring search that Kibbo came across an old wildebeest grazing alone, far from the main herd. The wildebeest's coat was speckled with gray and its eyes held a depth of wisdom that only age and experience could bestow. Kibbo approached him hesitantly, not knowing what to say. The old wildebeest nodded thoughtfully. "I am Musa," he introduced himself. "I experienced many migrations and saw countless calves lost and found. Tell me, Kibbo, what do you plan to do if you can't find your mother?" Kibbo's eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them away, determined to show strength. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I have to keep looking for her. I can't give up." Musa's eyes softened with understanding. "You have the heart of a true wildebeest, young Kibbo," he said. "Migration is a test not just of strength but of spirit. I will help you. Together we will navigate the dangers of the savannah and I will teach you what you need to survive." A wave of relief washed over Kibbo. He had found an ally in this vast and unforgiving land. "Thank you, Musa," he said sincerely. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Musa offered a reassuring nod. "We wildebeests must look out for each other. Now, let's find shelter for the night. Tomorrow we will begin our journey again." Under Musa's guidance, Kibbo learned to read the signs of the savannah. Musa taught him to identify safe grazing areas, recognize predator tracks, and find water sources in the arid landscape. Kibbo's confidence grew with each passing day. The fear that once dominated him slowly gave way to a sense of competence and resilience. One afternoon, as they were going through a particularly dense thicket, Musa turned to Kibbo with a serious expression. "There are many dangers in the savannah, Kibbo," he said. "Lions, hyenas and crocodiles pose threats to us. But the greatest danger of all is fear. It can paralyze you, make you careless. You must learn to master it." Kibbo nodded, taking Musa's words seriously. The lessons he learned were not just about survival, but about inner strength and perseverance. He began to see the savannah not as an enemy but as a teacher, each challenge an opportunity for growth. One night, as the sun set below the horizon, casting the savannah in a warm, golden glow, Kibbo and Musa found themselves on the edge of a vast plain. The view was breathtaking, the grass swaying gently in the breeze, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. For a moment, the hardships of the journey seemed to disappear, replaced by the simple beauty of the world around them. "Musa," Kibbo said, breaking the silence. "Do you think I'll find my mother?" Musa looked at Kibbo, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and realism. "I don't know, Kibbo," he answered honestly. "But I know that as long as you keep hope alive in your heart, you will never be truly lost." Kibbo pondered Musa's words, finding comfort in his wisdom. He was no longer the frightened calf that was separated from its mother in the river. He was stronger, more resilient and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As night fell, Kibbo and Musa settled down to rest, the stars above a silent witness to their journey. The Serengeti, with all its beauty and danger, stretched out before them, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the infinite possibilities it held. Kibbo closed his eyes, the events of the last few days replaying in his mind. He faced fear, loss and uncertainty, but he also found friendship, strength and hope. The migration was far from over and the path ahead was still full of challenges. But with Musa by his side, Kibbo felt ready to face whatever the future held. As he fell asleep, Kibbo dreamed of his mother, their reunion a bright beacon of hope in the vast star-filled sky. The journey would continue, and with each step, Kibbo would grow stronger, his spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. The Serengeti, with all its trials and triumphs, became more than just a landscape, it became part of it, molding it into the wildebeest it was destined to become. Musa watched Kibbo with a watchful eye as the young wildebeest tried to understand the new reality around him. The vast expanse of the Serengeti stretched endlessly in every direction, a beautiful but unforgiving land filled with life and death. The golden grass of the savanna waved in the wind, and the distant acacia trees stood like silent sentinels. Musa, the wise old wildebeest, understood the delicate balance of survival here, and it was his duty now to impart this knowledge to Kibo. "Listen carefully, young man," Musa began, his voice carrying the weight of years of experience. "This land is both our home and our greatest challenge. To survive, you need to know its secrets, its dangers, and its rhythms." Kibo nodded, his young eyes wide with a mixture of fear and determination. The loss of his mother, Amani, left a void in his heart, but Musa's presence provided a glimmer of hope. The wisdom of the old wildebeest was a lifeline in the turbulent sea of uncertainty. "First, you must learn to read the terrain," continued Musa, leading Kibo to a higher vantage point. "The earth speaks to us if we know how to listen. The grass, the trees, even the wind, they all have stories to tell." Kibo followed Musa's gaze, trying to see what the old wildebeest saw. The patterns in the grass, the way the foliage changed near the water sources, and the footprints left by other animals all began to form a clearer picture in his mind. "And remember," said Musa, his tone becoming more serious, "this land is also home to predators. Lions and crocodiles are the most dangerous, but there are others as well. You must always be vigilant." As if on cue, a distant roar echoed across the plains, sending a shiver down Kibo's spine. Musa placed a reassuring hoof on his shoulder. "Fear is natural, but it shouldn't paralyze you. It should sharpen your senses." Days passed, and under Musa's guidance, Kibo's confidence grew. He learned to identify safe drinking spots, find the best grazing areas, and recognize signs of predators. Musa's lessons were practical, but they also brought deeper wisdom about the interconnectedness of all life in the Serengeti. One afternoon, as the sun shone high in the sky, Musa and Kibo came across a group of zebras. The stallion leading them, a charismatic figure named Django, greeted them with a friendly neigh. Its black and white stripes gleamed in the sunlight and its presence exuded a sense of authority and charm. "Greetings, Musa," Django said, his voice warm and welcoming. "And who is this young man with you?" "This is Kibo," Musa replied, introducing the young wildebeest. "He's learning the ways of the savannah." Django nodded, eyes full of understanding. "A noble undertaking. These are difficult times, my friends. A severe drought has ravaged the region. Water and food are becoming scarce and tensions are rising among the herds." Kibo's heart sank at the news. The drought added another layer of difficulty to their already precarious existence. Musa, however, remained calm and collected. "Thanks for the warning, Django," said Musa. "We will be cautious. May your journey be safe." When they broke apart, Kibo couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. Drought meant that resources would be even more limited and the fight for survival would intensify. Musa noticed the concern on Kibo's face and offered words of comfort. "We need to adapt, Kibo," said Musa. "The drought is a test of our resilience. We must remain strong and support each other." Their journey continued, each day bringing new challenges and lessons. One night, as the sun set below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, they witnessed a brutal reminder of the harsh reality of the savannah. A distant herd of wildebeest was suddenly ambushed by a pride of lions. The attack was swift and merciless, the lions' powerful bodies moving with deadly precision. Kibo watched in horror as the scene unfolded, his heart pounding in his chest. The wildebeest's screams filled the air, a haunting symphony of fear and pain. Musa stood beside him, her expression grim but resolute. "This is the world we live in, Kibo," Musa said softly. "It's beautiful and brutal, full of life and death. We must never forget the dangers that lurk in the shadows." Kibo nodded, the weight of Musa's words sinking in. The savannah was a place of constant struggle, where survival depended on consciousness, strength, and bonds between individuals. As the days turned into weeks, Kibo's skills and confidence continued to grow under Musa's guidance. He learned to navigate the terrain with greater ease, to find food and water even in the midst of drought, and to stay alert for signs of danger. Musa's teachings were invaluable, and Kibo felt a deep sense of gratitude for the old wildebeest's guidance. On a particularly scorching day, they came across a cluster of acacia trees that offered a rare patch of shade. The coolness under the canopy was a welcome relief from the relentless sun. As they rested, Musa shared stories of his past, stories of his own journey across the savannah and the lessons he learned along the way. "Every challenge we face shapes us, Kibo," said Musa, his voice full of wisdom. "It is through adversity that we discover our true strength." Kibo listened intently, absorbing every word. Musa's stories weren't just about survival, they were about resilience, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of the wildebeest. Each story was a piece of the great tapestry of life in the Serengeti. However, the truce was short-lived, as the reality of the drought quickly forced them to move again. The search for water became increasingly desperate, and the once lush pastures were now dry and barren. Scarcity of resources has led to increasing tensions between animal herds, each group competing for the limited sustenance available. One night, while crossing a vast plain, they encountered a group of elephants. The matriarch, a wise and dignified figure named Nia, greeted them with a soft trumpet. Her presence commanded respect, and Musa approached her with deference. "Greetings, Nia," Musa said, lowering her head. "We seek water and safe passage." Nia's eyes, filled with deep kindness, looked at us thoughtfully. "The drought has affected us all, Musa. But we must help each other in these times of need. There is a well not far from here, though it is small and contested by many." "Thank you, Nia," Musa replied. "We will approach it with caution and respect." As they headed to the well, they could see tensions boiling between the different groups of animals gathered there. Zebras, antelopes, and other wildebeests fought for a place in the precious resource. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of urgency and discomfort. Musa and Kibo approached slowly, their presence recognized by wary glances. The well was really small, a shallow pool that barely reflected the sky above. The animals took turns drinking, each group understanding the fragile balance that needed to be maintained. As Kibo waited for his turn, he felt a growing sense of responsibility. The lessons Musa taught him were not just about his survival, but that of the entire community. The drought was a test of their unity, of their ability to work together in the face of adversity. When it was finally their turn, Kibo and Musa drank deeply, the cold water being a balm for their parched throats. As they quenched their thirst, Kibo couldn't help but notice the younger animal's eyes looking to him for guidance. Musa's wisdom had been passed on to him, and it was now his duty to share it with others. As night fell, Kibo lay beside Musa, the stars above a silent testament to the vastness of their world. The journey was arduous, full of trials and dangers, but it was also a journey of growth and discovery. Kibo felt a new sense of purpose, a determination to honor his mentor's teachings and to protect the wildebeest legacy. "Musa," Kibo said softly, breaking the silence of the night. "Thank you for everything you've taught me. I promise to carry your wisdom forward." Musa turned to Kibo, a proud smile on his face. "You learned well, Kibo. The savannah is a harsh teacher, but you faced your challenges with courage and strength. Remember, you are never alone. The spirit of the herd, the wisdom of our elders, and the bond between us will always guide you." Kibo nodded, feeling the weight of Musa's words settle in his heart. The journey ahead would undoubtedly bring more trials, but he was ready to face them. With Musa by his side and the lessons of the savannah etched into his soul, Kibo knew he could navigate the dangers of their world and emerge stronger. As the first light of dawn began to paint the horizon, Kibo and Musa got up to continue their journey. The savannah, with all its beauty and danger, stretched out before them, a vast, untamed land that held both promise and danger. Together they moved forward, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, their spirits united by the timeless bond of wildebeest. The Serengeti sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows across the parched landscape. The once lush pastures have transformed into a tapestry of browns and yellows, the effects of relentless drought evident in every brittle blade of grass. Under Musa's guidance, Kibo grew stronger and more confident, his once clumsy legs now strong and sure. However, the drought has made searching for food and water an increasingly desperate task. Musa, with his vast knowledge of the savannah, led Kibo and the small group they had joined across the arid plains. They had to remain vigilant, as the scarcity of resources increased tensions between different species. It was a time when alliances were tested and rivalries arose over limited water wells and patches of edible grass. "Remember, Kibo," advised Musa, "in times like these, survival is more than strength. It's a matter of wisdom and knowing when to stand your ground and when to give in." Kibo nodded, absorbing the old wildebeest's words. His eyes scanned the horizon, always alert for signs of danger or opportunity. The zebras, led by Django, became his allies. Django's charisma and leadership had a unifying effect on the group, but even he couldn't contain all the rising tensions. One afternoon, upon arriving at a vast plain, the group encountered a herd of elephants. The enormous creatures fought just as much as the smaller animals, and their large size made the need for water even more critical. Kibo watched Django approach the matriarch of the elephants, a wise and ancient creature named Nia. "We should share the water we found," Django proposed, his voice calm but firm. "Fighting amongst ourselves will only lead to more losses." Nia looked at him with a firm gaze. "Your words are wise, zebra. But our young and weak are suffering. Can you promise there will be enough for everyone?" Before Django could respond, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of wildebeest, their ribs showing through their thin skin, found a small pool of muddy water. The sight of this sent them into a frenzy, each desperate to quench their thirst. Kibo watched in horror as the fight for the water turned violent, with horns clashing and hooves pounding. Musa stepped forward, her presence drawing attention. "Stop this madness," he screamed. "We must ration what little we have. If we fight, we will all die." His words, combined with his authoritative tone, had the desired effect. The wildebeest stopped their fight, panting and looking at each other warily. Kibo felt a surge of pride and admiration for Musa. The old wildebeest's wisdom and strength of character were a beacon in these dark times. As night fell, the group settled down to rest, although the tension in the air was palpable. Kibo couldn't sleep, his mind racing with worry about the future. He decided to venture out into the cold night, hoping to find some solace or perhaps even a solution to his dire situation. The moon cast a silvery glow over the savannah, and as Kibo wandered, he stumbled upon a figure standing at the edge of a dry riverbed. The figure was shrouded in shadow, but as Kibo approached, he could make out the features of an older wildebeest, his eyes shining with a mixture of weariness and mystery. "You seem troubled, young man," said the mysterious wildebeest, his voice low and hoarse. Kibo hesitated and then replied, "I am. My group is struggling to survive this drought. We need water, food, hope." The old wildebeest nodded slowly. "I know about your situation, Kibo. I've been watching. And I have something that might interest you." Kibo's heart quickened. "What is it?" The stranger approached, his eyes piercing the darkness. "I know your mother's whereabouts, Amani." Kibo's breath caught in his throat. "Amani? My mother? Where is she?" The old wildebeest's expression softened. "She is alive, but she is far from here. I can take you to her, but the journey is dangerous. You must be sure you want to undertake it." Kibo didn't hesitate. "I have to find her. I need to know if she's safe." The stranger nodded. "Very well. We will leave at dawn. Bring only what you need for the journey." When Kibo returned to the group, his mind was a whirlwind of emotions. He found Musa and shared the encounter with him. The old wildebeest listened attentively, with an inscrutable expression. "This could be a trap, Kibo," Musa warned. "We must be cautious." "I understand, but I have to take advantage of this opportunity," Kibo insisted. "I can't abandon the possibility of finding my mother." Musa sighed, her eyes filled with a mix of worry and resignation. "Then I will accompany you. We will face this journey together." The next morning they left with the stranger, leaving the group under Django's leadership. The journey was arduous and the once familiar terrain became increasingly treacherous. They crossed rocky outcrops, navigated dense thickets, and escaped predators that lurked in the shadows. Despite the challenges, Kibo's determination never wavered. The idea of reuniting with Amani fueled his every step. Musa, ever the watchful mentor, kept a close watch on the stranger, wary of any deception. One night, as they rested near a small stagnant lake, Kibo approached the old wildebeest. "You never told me your name." The stranger looked up, a faint smile playing on his lips. "My name is Zuberi." "Zuberi," repeated Kibo, committing the name to memory. "How do you know my mother?" Zuberi's expression darkened. "We were once part of the same herd. She was a great leader, admired by many. But circumstances separated us." Kibo nodded, feeling a pang of sadness for the hardships his mother must have endured. As the days passed, the terrain became even more challenging. They faced steep cliffs, narrow passages and the constant threat of predators. Kibo's admiration for Musa deepened as the old wildebeest navigated these dangers with unwavering determination. One night, as they camped in a sheltered ravine, Kibo could not shake the feeling that they were being watched. He confided his fears to Musa. "I feel it too," said Musa, his eyes scanning the darkness. "We must remain vigilant." Their suspicions were confirmed when, in the dead of night, they were ambushed by a group of hyenas. The cackling predators surrounded them, their eyes shining with hunger. "Stay close to me," ordered Musa, positioning himself between Kibo and the hyenas. Zuberi stood still, with a calculating look. "We can negotiate," he suggested. "They might be willing to let us pass if we offer something in return." Musa's eyes narrowed. "And what would you offer, Zuberi?" "Our lives." Before Zuberi could respond, the leader of the hyenas, a fearsome woman named Shensi, stepped forward. "We don't trade in prey," she growled. "But we can make an exception if you have something valuable." Kibo's heart was pounding in his chest. He could see the malice in Shensi's eyes and knew they were in grave danger. Musa, however, remained calm and resolute. "We have nothing to offer other than our determination to survive," declared Musa. "If you wish to test this, so be it." The hyenas approached, their growls getting louder and louder. Just as the tension reached its peak, a loud roar echoed across the ravine. A huge lion, its mane forming a golden halo in the moonlight, leaped into the fray. The hyenas scattered, their confidence shaken by the unexpected appearance of the apex predator. The lion's eyes fixed on Kibo, Musa and Zuberi. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Then, the lion tilted its head slightly before disappearing into the night. Kibo's legs shook with relief and wonder. What just happened? Musa exhaled slowly. We were saved by a savanna guardian. Sometimes even the fiercest predators recognize the importance of balance. Zuberi's eyes shone with a new respect for Musa. You really are wise, old man. As they continued their journey, Kibo couldn't shake the feeling that Zuberi was hiding something. Their suspicions were confirmed when, one night, they arrived at an isolated forest. Zuberi turned to them with an unreadable expression. This is where we part ways, he announced. Kibo's heart sank. But you said you would take us to my mother. Zuberi's eyes hardened. I've taken you far enough. The rest of the journey is yours. Musa stepped forward, her gaze piercing. What are you hiding, Zubri? Why did you actually bring us here? Zubri's lips curved into a mischievous smile. You've always been perceptive, Musa. Very well, I'll tell you the truth. I brought you here because I have a score to settle. Kibo's blood ran cold. What do you mean? Zubri's eyes flashed with anger. Your mother, Amani, betrayed me. She cast me out of the herd, leaving me alone. I swore I would have my revenge, and you, Kibo, were the perfect bait. Musa's muscles tensed, ready to defend Kibo. You won't hurt him, Zubri. Kibo's heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread as he decided to follow the stranger who claimed to know the whereabouts of his mother, Amani. Musa, ever the cautious guide, looked at the young wildebeest with a frown. Kibo, Musa began, his voice filled with fatherly concern, we must be careful. This stranger, we do not know his true intentions. I know, Musa, Kibo replied, determination strengthening his voice. But I have to find her. She's all I have left. Musa sighed, feeling the determination in Kibo's eyes. He knew there was no dissuading the young wildebeest. With a nod, he agreed to accompany him and they set off, following the stranger into the unknown. The landscape began to change as they ventured into unknown territory. The lush grasses of the plains gave way to rocky outcrops and dense thickets, creating a labyrinthine environment that tested every step. The air grew heavier, the sun warmer, and the promise of danger more palpable. Stay close, Kibo, Musa instructed, his eyes scanning his surroundings for any sign of threat. These lands are unfamiliar to us and predators may be lurking. Their journey was full of challenges. The terrain was unforgiving, with steep slopes and narrow paths that forced them to walk carefully. At one point, they found themselves on the edge of a deep ravine, the only way forward for which was a precarious path along its side. Careful, Kibo, warned Musa as they navigated the narrow ledge. One wrong step and... I know, Kibo interrupted, his voice tinged with anxiety. I'll be careful. Their caution paid off and they managed to cross the ravine unharmed. However, the feeling of unease persisted as the stranger led them deeper into the heart of unknown territory. Every night, they took turns keeping watch, their ears perked up for the slightest sounds that could signal danger. One night, as the sun set over the horizon and the shadows grew longer, Kibo approached the stranger, his curiosity piqued. Strange, Kibo began hesitantly, you say you know where my mother is. How do you know that? The stranger, a wildebeest with graying fur and a hard look in his eyes, finally turned to face Kibo. My name is Zubri, he said, his voice low and hoarse. I have my ways of knowing things, young man. Your mother is closer than you think. Musa, who had been listening in the distance, approached, narrowing her eyes in suspicion. And why should we trust you, Zubri? What do you gain from helping us? Zubri's eyes shone with an indecipherable emotion before he replied, I have my reasons. Maybe I seek redemption. Maybe I seek revenge. You will find out in due time. Kibo's hope wavered at Zubri's cryptic words, but he chose to continue the journey, motivated by the possibility of reuniting with his mother. As they ventured deeper, the dangers became more frequent. They encountered a pack of hyenas on a moonless night, their eerie laughter echoing in the darkness. Musa and Kibo stood back to back, their bodies tense and ready to defend themselves. Stay close, Kibo, Musa whispered, his voice steady despite the imminent threat. We must face them together. The hyenas circled, their eyes shining with malicious intent. Just as the tension reached its peak, Zubri stepped forward, his presence imposing enough to make the hyenas pause. With a grunt and a lunge, he scattered the pack, sending them fleeing into the night. Impressive, Musa murmured, grudging respect in her voice. Zubri shrugged, his expression unreadable. We cannot afford to be weak in these lands. Despite the temporary alliance against the hyenas, discomfort continued to simmer between Musa and Zubri. The old wildebeest could not shake the feeling that Zubri had ulterior motives and remained vigilant, watching for any sign of betrayal. The days turned into weeks as they progressed, their bodies growing tired but their spirits unwavering. One afternoon, they came to a desolate stretch of land, the earth cracked and barren under the relentless sun. The sight was discouraging, but Zubri encouraged them to press on. Just a little longer, he assured them, though his tone lacked his usual conviction. As they walked through the desert, Kibo noticed a change in Musa. The old wildebeest seemed more withdrawn, with distant eyes as if he were lost in thought. That night, as they huddled together for warmth, Kibo finally broached the subject. "Musa, what's bothering you?" Kibo asked softly. Musa sighed, her gaze fixed on the flickering flames of her makeshift fire. "It's Zubri. I'm afraid he's not taking us to his mother." Kibo's heart sank at the possibility. But why would he lie? Musa shook her head. "I don't know. But we must be cautious. Trust is a fragile thing, Kibo, and I fear ours may be lost." The next day, his suspicions were confirmed. As they approached a rocky outcrop, Zubri's behavior changed. He became more reserved, looking over his shoulder and asking them to hurry. When they finally reached a hidden cave, Zubri turned to face them, his expression a mixture of triumph and malice. "Welcome to my domain," Zubri declared, his voice full of disdain. "You were foolish to trust me." Kibo's heart pounded in his chest as he realized the truth. "What do you want, Zubri?" Zubri's eyes sparkled with distorted satisfaction. "Revenge, young man. Musa here once wronged me, and you are the key to my revenge." Musa stepped forward, defiant despite the danger. "What are you talking about, Zubri? I have no quarrel with you." "Lie." Zubri spat, his voice full of venom. "You let me die when we were young, Musa. I swore I would make you pay." Kibo's mind raced as he tried to understand the depth of Zubri's hatred. "Please, Zubri," he begged, "can we find another way? It will not bring you peace." But Zubri was beyond reasoning. With a grunt, he lunged at Musa, knocking the old wildebeest to the ground. Kibo screamed in horror as Zubri's hooves struck Musa repeatedly, the sound of the blows echoing through the cave. "No!" Kibo shouted, running to protect his mentor. But Zubri was relentless, his anger blinding him to reason. Just as it seemed like all hope was lost, a small figure darted into the cave, moving with surprising agility. Tumalo, the resourceful meerkat they had befriended earlier, jumped onto Zubri's back, biting and scratching with fierce determination. "Get off him, you brute!" Tumalo shouted, his small voice full of fury. Zubri roared in pain and frustration, trying to free himself from Tumalo. The distraction was enough for Kibo to intervene, using his own strength to pull Zubri away from Musa. "Enough!" Kibo shouted, his voice echoing with an authority he didn't know he possessed. "This ends now." Zubri, panting and bleeding from Tumalo's attacks, looked at Kibo with a mixture of hatred and respect. You're stronger than I thought." With a final grunt, Zubri retreated into the shadows of the cave, leaving Kibo and Tumalo to watch over Musa. The old wildebeest was seriously injured, his breathing shallow and labored. "Kibo," Musa whispered, her voice weak but determined, "there is something you need to know." Tears welled up in Kibo's eyes as he approached his mentor. "What is this, Musa?" Musa's eyes were filled with a mixture of pain and urgency. "Amani, she is not your biological mother. Your true lineage, she holds the key to uniting the herds." Kibo's heart quickened at the revelation. "What do you mean?" Musa's voice grew weaker, his strength diminished. "You are the heir to a legacy that can bring peace. Seek out the elder wildebeests. They will help you understand." With those final words, Musa's eyes closed and her body went still. Kibo's heart ached with the weight of the loss, but he knew that Musa's sacrifice would not be in vain. Tumalo placed a comforting paw on Kibo's leg, their eyes reflecting a shared determination. "We will honor your wish, Kibo," Tumalo said softly. "We will find the elders and unite the herds." Kibo nodded, his resolve strengthened by Musa's dying wish. The path forward was uncertain and full of challenges, but he knew he had to continue. With Tumalo at his side, Kibo turned toward the horizon, ready to embrace his destiny and bring hope to the fragmented herds of the savannah. As they left the cave behind, the weight of the journey pressed down on Kibo's shoulders. The memory of Musa's wisdom and guidance would be his beacon, lighting the way through the darkest of times. And with every step, Kibo felt the call of his true heritage, a legacy that would unite the flocks and bring lasting peace to the Serengeti. As the sun began to descend over the Serengeti, casting long shadows across the golden pastures, Kibo and Musa found themselves in a dire situation. Betrayed and captured by Zubri, the outlawed wildebeest whose intentions were far from noble, they were imprisoned in a small rocky enclosure from which it seemed impossible to escape. The air was thick with tension and Kibo's heart raced with fear and frustration. Zubri paced back and forth outside the room, a sinister smile spreading across his face. "Did you really think you could fool me, old friend?" he teased, his voice full of mischief. "You've always been very confident, Musa. Look where it's gotten you now." Musa, although weakened by the ordeal, met Zubri's gaze with unwavering defiance. "This isn't about me, Zubri. It's about Kibo. Let him go. He has no part in our story." Zubri's eyes flashed with a dangerous light. "Ah, but he does, Musa. More than you know." He turned to Kibo, who was trembling next to Musa. "You have no idea who you really are, do you, young man?" Kibo's confusion and fear were palpable. "What are you talking about? What do you want from us?" Zubri laughed, a cold, sad sound that sent shivers down Kibo's spine. "All in due time, boy. For now, know that your destiny is intertwined with mine. And I intend to use you to finally get what I deserve." As Zubri walked away, leaving them alone in the room, Kibo turned to Musa, his eyes wide with despair. "Musa, what are we going to do? We can't stay here. We have to find a way out." Musa, although exhausted, placed a reassuring hoof on Kibo's shoulder. "Stay calm, Kibo. We'll find a way. We just need to think." Hours passed and the darkness of night enveloped the savannah. Kibo and Musa sat in silence, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. Just as Kibo was beginning to lose hope, a small, shadowy figure appeared at the edge of the room. It was Tumalo, the resourceful meerkat they encountered at the beginning of their journey. "Hust! Here!" Tumalo whispered urgently. "I've been watching you. It looks like you need help." Kibo's eyes shone with a gleam of hope. "Tumalo, how did you find us?" Tumalo smiled, his whiskers twitching with excitement. "I have my methods. Now, let's get you out of here." Tumalo quickly assessed the situation, his sharp eyes scanning the room for weak spots. After a few moments, he pointed to a small crevice in the rocks. "Over there. It's not much, but it might be big enough for you to fit through." Kibo and Musa exchanged hopeful glances before getting to work, carefully maneuvering through the narrow opening. It was a tight attack, but with Tumalo's guidance they managed to break free. As they left the room, Kibo whispered his gratitude. "Thank you, Tumalo. We owe our lives to you." Tumalo dismissed the thanks with a modest smile. "I'm just doing what I can. Now let's get out of here before Zubri notices you're gone." They moved quickly during the night, the vast savannah stretching out before them. But their escape did not go unnoticed for long. Zubri's enraged roar echoed through the night, and Kibo knew they had to keep moving. Their journey was fraught with danger. The terrain was treacherous and predators lurked in the shadows. But with Tumalo's guidance and Musa's wisdom, they managed to escape capture. However, the price of his ordeal was heavy for Musa. His injuries, sustained during capture, were severe and it was clear he was struggling. One night, while they were resting in a small forest, Musa's condition worsened. His breathing was labored and his strength was fading. Kibo knelt beside him, tears in his eyes. "Musa, you have to hold on. We can't lose you." Musa's eyes, although clouded with pain, held a deep, unwavering resolve. "Kibo, there is something you need to know. Something I hid from you for a long time." Kibo's heart was pounding in his chest. "What is this, Musa?" Musa took a deep breath, gathering strength. "Amani, she's not your biological mother." Kibo's mind reeled at the revelation. "What? But, how?" Musa's voice was weak but firm. "Years ago, there was a great conflict between the herds. Their true parents were leaders, visionaries who sought to unite the herds and bring peace. But they were betrayed and, in the chaos, they were killed. Amani, his mother's closest friend, took you in as if you were hers to protect you." Kibo's emotions rose, a mix of shock, sadness, and a new sense of purpose. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" Musa's gaze softened. "The time was not right. But now you must know. Your true lineage holds the key to uniting the fragmented herds. It is your destiny, Kibo." Tears streamed down Kibo's face as he grabbed Musa's hoof. "Musa, I don't know if I'm ready for this." Musa's grip tightened, his eyes filled with a fierce, unwavering determination. "You are stronger than you know, Kibo. Trust in yourself. Trust in your father's legacy. You can unite the herds." As the weight of Musa's words fell upon him, Kibo felt a deep sense of responsibility. He knew what he had to do, but the path forward was fraught with uncertainty. Musa's breathing became shallower and Kibo knew their time was running out. "Musa, please don't leave me. I need you." Musa's voice was barely a whisper. "I will always be with you, Kibo. In your heart. Now go. Fulfill your destiny." With those final words, Musa's eyes closed and her breathing stopped. Kibo clung to him, heartbroken at the loss of his mentor and friend. Tumalo placed a comforting paw on Kibo's shoulder. "I'm sorry, Kibo. Musa was a big wildebeest." Kibo wiped away his tears, a steely determination washing over him. "We have to keep moving. We have to honor Musa's memory and fulfill his last wish." As they continued their journey, Kibo felt a new strength coursing through him. The knowledge of his true heritage gave him a sense of purpose, and the memory of Musa's unwavering belief in him fueled his determination. They traveled for days, navigating the harsh landscapes and dangerous predators of the Serengeti. Along the way, Kibo encountered other animals, sharing news of his mission to unite the herds. Some were skeptical, others hopeful, but Kibo's passion and conviction began to inspire those around him. One night, while resting near a small watering hole, Kibo and Tumalo were approached by a group of older wildebeests. Their leader, a wise old wildebeest named Jafari, stepped forward. "We have heard of your journey, young man. Is it true? Are you the one who will unite the herds?" Kibo was standing, his voice firm and full of conviction. "Yes, it's true. My parents sought to bring peace to the herds, and I intend to make their dream come true. But I can't do it alone. I need your help." Jafari nodded thoughtfully, his gaze searching Kibo's eyes. "You carry the spirit of your parents within you. We will be with you, Kibo." With the support of the older wildebeest, Kibo's mission gained momentum. The news spread across the savannah and animals from all corners began to gather, attracted by the promise of unity and peace. As they prepared for the final effort to round up the herds, Kibo felt a sense of hope and expectation. The memory of Musa's sacrifice and the knowledge of his true heritage gave him strength to face future challenges. But as they stood on the brink of a new dawn for the Serengeti, Kibo couldn't shake the feeling that his journey was far from over. The path to unity was filled with obstacles, and he knew they would need all their courage and determination to succeed. Kibo stood alone on the edge of the vast plain, the weight of Musa's last words pressing heavily on his young shoulders. The revelation that Amani was not his biological mother came as a shock, but it was the knowledge of his true lineage and the responsibility she carried that now fueled his every step. He had to find the oldest wildebeest and reveal their heritage, hoping to unite the fragmented herds as Musa had imagined. The sky above darkened ominously, thick clouds swirling as a fierce storm threatened to unleash its fury. But Kibo's determination was unwavering. He had to act quickly before the impending chaos scattered the herds once again. With all his might, he pushed himself forward, navigating the treacherous terrain that had become all too familiar in recent weeks. As he approached the meeting place of the older wildebeests, Kibo's heart was pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. The elders, wise and formidable, held the power to influence the future of their species. He knew that convincing them wouldn't be easy, but he had no choice. Musa had entrusted him with this mission, and he would see it through to the end. The elders were already gathered, their imposing forms casting long shadows in the gloom. Kibo could feel their eyes on him, a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Clearing his throat, he took a step forward, his voice steady despite the storm brewing around them. "Elders," Kibo began, his gaze sweeping over the gathered wildebeest, "I come before you with a message of great importance. My name is Kibo, and I am here not only as a member of our herd, but as the bearer of a legacy that has the power to unite us all." A murmur ran through the assembly as the elders exchanged glances. One of them, a twisted and aged wildebeest named Baraka, stepped forward, narrowing his eyes as he looked at Kibo. "And what legacy do you speak of, young man?" Baraka's voice was deep and resonant, carrying the weight of years of wisdom and experience. Kibo took a deep breath, his mind racing with the words Musa shared in his final moments. "Musa, the wise and respected wildebeest who guided me, revealed to me a truth that had been hidden for a long time. Amani, who I believe to be my mother, is not my biological mother. My true lineage has a meaning that can reunite our herds divided. I am a descendant of the ancient leader, Shuja, whose vision was to see all wildebeest united as one." Gasps and whispers spread among the elders, their eyes widening in astonishment. Shuja's name was legendary, a beacon of hope from a time gone by. Baraka's expression softened, his skepticism giving way to contemplation. "If what you say is true, Kibo," Baraka said slowly, "then you carry a heavy burden indeed. Shuja's dream was one of unity and strength. But how do you propose we achieve this in a world filled with danger and division?" Kibo's gaze never wavered when he met Baraka's eyes. "We must come together, not just as wildebeests, but as a united front with other species. Drought, predators, the harsh realities of our world, they affect us all. By forging alliances and standing together, we can ensure our survival and prosperity." Musa believed in this vision, and I am determined to honor his last wish. As Kibo spoke, the intensity of the storm increased, lightning flashed in the sky, and thunder rumbled ominously. The elders exchanged thoughtful glances, their expressions a mixture of hope and uncertainty. Finally, an elderly woman named Nyota stepped forward, her voice gentle but resolute. "Kibo, your words carry wisdom beyond your years. If you truly are a descendant of Shuja, then perhaps it is time for us to set aside our differences and work toward a common goal. But the path will not be easy. The storm that approaches is a reminder of the challenges we face." Just as Nyota finished speaking, a voice sounded from the shadows, strong and familiar. "She's right. The path is fraught with danger, but together we can overcome it." Kibo's heart skipped a beat when he turned and saw Amani emerging from the darkness, her eyes full of determination. "Amani," he exclaimed, his voice a mix of relief and surprise. Amani nodded, her gaze meeting Kibo's with pride. "I have been working undercover, gathering allies from other species. We must remain united if we are to survive the storm and trials that lie ahead." The elders gasped once again, their astonishment was palpable. Baraka's eyes widened as he looked at Amani with newfound respect. "Have you been working towards this whole time?" Amani nodded. "Yes. The drought, the predators, they threaten us all. I've spoken to the zebras, the elephants, and even the meerkats. They are willing to join us in our cause. It's time for us to set aside our differences and stand firm as a." Kibo felt a surge of hope as he looked around at the gathered wildebeest and the allies Amani had mentioned. The fury of the storm seemed to mirror the intensity of his determination. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward, his voice carrying over the howling wind. "Friends, family and allies," Kibo began, his voice strong and unwavering, "we face a storm unlike any we have seen before. But it is not just the storm of nature that threatens us, it is the storm of division and fear. Together we can weather this storm and emerge stronger. Let us unite, not just as wildebeests, but as a coalition of all who call this land home. For the sake of our future, for the sake of Shuja's legacy, let us stand together." A chorus of voices rose in agreement, the sound harmonizing with the thunderous roar of the storm. The elders, inspired by Kibo's passionate plea, nodded in agreement. Baraka's voice cut through the noise, carrying a note of determination. "Let it be clear that from today onwards we will be united," declared Baraka. "Kibo, descendant of Shuja, will lead us in this endeavor. Together, we will weather the storm and build a future of peace and prosperity." When the storm reached its peak, the herds of wildebeest, zebra, elephant and meerkat stood side by side, a testament to the power of unity. Kibo felt a sense of accomplishment and purpose like never before. Musa's teachings, Amani's dedication and her own determination have brought them to this moment. Amani stood next to Kibo, her eyes full of pride and love. "You have done well, Kibo. Your leadership and courage have brought us to this point. Now, we must face together the challenges that lie ahead." Kibo nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Amani. I couldn't have done it without your guidance and support." Amani smiled, her gaze fixed on the horizon, where the fury of the storm was slowly beginning to subside. "The journey is far from over, but with our united strength, we can overcome anything." When the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow across the plain, Kibo felt a renewed sense of hope. The storm tested their resolve, but it also brought them together in a way nothing else could. With his true heritage revealed in the support of his new allies, Kibo was ready to lead his people into a future of unity and prosperity. In the days that followed, the herds worked tirelessly to rebuild and strengthen their community. Zebras shared their knowledge about finding water sources, elephants used their immense strength to clear paths and create shelters, and meerkats looked for potential dangers. Each species brought its unique skills and strengths to the table, creating a harmonious and resilient coalition. Kibo's leadership continued to inspire those around him. He held council meetings with older wildebeest and representatives of other species, fostering an environment of collaboration and mutual respect. Challenges still arose, disagreements over resources, encounters with predators and the ever-present threat of drought, but they faced each obstacle together, united in their common goal. One evening, as the sun set over the savannah, Kibo stood atop a rocky outcrop, looking down on the thriving community below. Amani joined him, her presence a comforting reminder of the journey they had undertaken. "You've come a long way, Kibo," Amani said, her voice full of pride. Kibo smiled, his eyes reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. "We all do. It's because of the strength and unity of everyone here that we've made it this far." Amani nodded, looking distant, as if she were lost in thought. "Your true lineage brought us together, but it was your heart and determination that made this unity possible. Shuja would be proud." Kibo's heart swelled with emotion. "Thank you, Amani. Your guidance and love have been my anchor through it all." As the stars began to shine in the night sky, Kibo felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. The journey was long and arduous, but it led to a future where the herds would remain united, stronger than ever. Shuja's legacy lived on through his unity, and Kibo was determined to honor that legacy for future generations. Together, they would face whatever challenges the savannah threw their way, remaining as one, a coalition united by trust, respect and a shared vision of a better future. And as the night enveloped the land in its arms, Kibo knew they were ready to face the dawn of a new era, united and unbreakable. Leave a comment if you liked the video. Until our next meeting.